Thanks for joining this short yoga practice to celebrate Imbolc. Imbolc signals the halfway point between Yule, or the winter solstice, and Ostara, the spring equinox. It's the time in which we start to notice the transition from winter into spring, and whilst it's still early to take drastic action, we start to notice the seeds of intention we hope to plant in the new year. Think of this practice of one gently reawakening alongside the world around us, or emerging from hibernation of the deep winter. When you're ready, let's begin.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining for this Imbolc yoga practice, or St. Brigid's Day yoga practice. And so we're going to actually start today laying down on our backs in a nice wind relieving pose. So we're just going to hug the knees in towards the chest. Little rocks from side to side. And today's practice, remember, we are looking to just gently reawaken. So we recently celebrated the Lunar New Year. This is a chance for a brand new start. And honestly, I think this transition, this initial start into spring, is a better time to begin that idea of creating resolutions. And not in the same way that you would for New Year. We don't want to go guns blazing into our resolutions. Instead, think of today's practice as just planting those seeds. We spent the Aquarius new moon, or the Aquarius season, creating clarity of mind and opening the opportunities for new creative adventures. In that way, we prepared the land, we prepared the soil. And today we are just deciding how we want to use those resources. What seeds do we want to plant? And we're not putting in the labor yet. We're just starting to get a feel for that. And so if there's a specific intention that's resonating with you, I want you to bring that to the forefront of your mind. Otherwise, you can simply use today's practice as a chance to reawaken, almost like you're starting to peel yourself out of the hibernation of the winter season. And if you'd like, you can repeat to yourself the affirmation, I gently awaken with the world. I gently awaken with the world. And so today's postures are going to be just that, simply gently reawakening with the world. Reawakening the body, hopefully in ways that feel good. So now bring your arms out to a cactus position with the elbows bent, or you can even take your arms a little bit higher. And we're just going to lower those knees over towards the left side. If this is a lot of tension in your lower back, bring your feet to the floor, then lower your knees over to the left side. Bring your knees back through center and then over towards the right. With both of these poses, with all of these poses, just finding a position through the neck that feels good to you. Bring your knees back through center, and then hug your right knee towards your right shoulder, cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And then option to keep the sole of the left foot to the floor, or hug your left thigh or your left shin in towards your chest. And traditionally in reclined pigeon, you'd hold in stillness, but as long as there's no low back pain today, maybe you'd like to rock gently from side to side to work a bit deeper into that glute. Or you can use your right hand to just gently guide that thigh open. Release the sole of the left foot to the floor, release your right foot, and then hug your left knee in, left ankle over right thigh. Maybe just working with this, or hugging your knee in. Again, in stillness or gentle movement. Release your right foot to the floor. Release your left foot to the floor, then hug both knees in. And then from here, we're gonna make our way up to a seated position, keeping the knees bent, and bring your heels as close towards your sit bones as you can. Open your feet out to the sides into bound angle pose. And I'm going to recommend you start with your fingers tented behind your hips. You can rock side to side. You could also maybe take a little bit of butterfly pulses, if that feels quite nice. Or I'm going to take ripples of the spine. And for me, this feels really a nice way to embrace the movement of bound angle. So I like to wrap my thumbs towards the inner arches of the feet, fingers around the tops of the feet, and press the pinky toe edges of the feet together as I hug the elbows in. And then as you inhale, you're going to lead with your nose, your chin, fold forward as far as you can, like you're trying to get the nose to touch the floor. And then as you exhale, round the spine all the way up. So it's like a ripple all the way up. Inhale, tall spine. Bring your chin away from your chest, lengthen and fold. And then as you exhale, roll up, ripple up, slowly one vertebrae at a time. You can hold in stillness, or you can do that once more. Come all the way back up. And then you're going to keep your right leg where it is, and you're going to open your left leg out to the side, maybe hug that heel in a little bit closer. And from here, bring your left hand to the inner right thigh. Inner left thigh. Reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. And then option to side stretch, or option to reach your left hand across for your right knee. Sometimes that feels quite good. Inhale back through center, switch the opposite leg, so left leg bends, right leg out long. Right forearm to the inner right thigh, left arm up, or right hand over towards your left thigh. Find a position through the head, through the neck that feels natural, that feels good. Inhale through center, and then just cross your shins, roll over your hands and knees to come to a tabletop position. And we're going to take cat-cow, but we're going to take nice intuitive cat-cows today. So I find for this, in my anatomy, I need to bring my palms slightly forward. You may find the same, or you may not. We can take, obviously, traditional cat-cow, inhaling to extend the spine and exhaling to round. Or today, maybe you want to get a little bit deeper into the extension, the flexion of the hips. So we round into cats, rounding that spine, but also maybe shifting the hips slightly forward and back. Just one more round. Inhale back to neutral. And then from here, we're going to bring our right leg back. And then bend the right knee, bring the right heel towards the right sit bone. And you can just stay with this, or keep your right hand grounded as you reach your left hand back towards your right ankle. Either hugging that heel in or lifting your chin, lifting your chest into tiger's pose. I always find this is quite a nice way of energizing the spine, but also it feels quite good. Breathing in. As you exhale, bring your left wrist under your left shoulder, bring your right toes to the back of the mat. Kick your left shin to the left as you bring your right heel down into a variation of side plank. And you can stay with this, pressing your hips slightly forward, a little opening of your chest. Or you can bend your right knee, reach your right hand back for the outside edge of the right foot, lifting your gaze up into a little back bend. And then once again, you can stay here or release your right foot behind you, bring your right arm up and over for a variation of wild thing with your left knee on the floor. Again, try to embrace the beauty of this pose, the intuitive qualities. Inhaling, come back through center, pinwheel the arm down, bring your right knee underneath your right hip, left knee under left hip. Exhale, maybe take a little rotation in between sides, and then bring your left leg back. Bend your left knee, option to reach your right hand back towards your ankle, your heel, hugging in, or engaging that glute, lifting your chin, your chest up. Then from here, bring your right wrist under right shoulder, left toes back, kick your right shin to the right, into your side plank variation. Pressing the hips forward, pressing the heart open. Maybe half moon variation, reaching your left hand towards your left foot. And it's like you're trying to draw that knee back to open the hip. And hopefully that feels quite nice. Option to stay where you are, or for your wild thing variation, I need a bit more space. Bring your left toes behind your mat. Left arm up and over. Keep pressing into the right hand. Inhale through center, and then exhale back to your tabletop. Again, you may just want to take a little bit of rotation through the spine, or another cat-cow. And from here, we're going to come into a downward facing dog, and we're going to keep our knees generously bent, just pedaling out those heels. And we're going to make our way into a garland pose, a ragdoll. So walk your feet forwards and wide. So they're about mat width distance apart. Toes just facing out slightly. And we're just going to sway from side to side, shifting the weight from one foot to the other. And start to maybe ripple through the spine a little bit. You can even come to a halfway up position, bending those knees. Finding the mobility through the hips, the ankles. It's really more of an intuitive practice. Side to side. And then the next time you sink your hips low, maybe bring the weight into the heels. Maybe bringing the palms together at the center of your chest. You can always sit on a block for additional support. Perhaps bringing your left arm out long, right arm up towards the ceiling, or even binding, reaching your left hand back for your right fingertips. Release, switching sides, right arm long, left arm up. Again, maybe a bind, only if it feels good for your body today. Release your arms, bring your arms forward. Now, if you have any tailbone pain, you're going to come into a wind relieving pose, or you're going to stay with garland pose. So you can either come onto your back with your knees towards your chest, or you can stay exactly where you are. If you have no tailbone pain and you want to try it, you can take some little garland rolls. So bring your arms forward. You may or may not need your arms for this, but you're going to just rock back, hug your knees in, and then see if you can catch yourself on the way up. Maybe lift those hips, maybe sink back down. So hopefully this should feel quite nice, like a little massage through the spine as you lift your hips. Roll back. If this just feels weird, you don't have to take it. You can just hug your knees towards your chest. Good. Once more. Find this garland pose, sit your hips back. Maybe you want to roll back and then roll back up with your legs straight. We're going to come into a variation of seated forward fold. So legs out long. You may want to bend your knees a bit for this one, so you can thread your arms through the backs of the legs, or use a bolster. Depending on how mobile you are, this might feel a bit strained in the back. So you can just come forward with a flat back, or eventually giving yourself a little hug. Rest your head towards your knees or towards a pillow. Release your arms, very gently roll up, and then continue to roll all the way back onto your mat. And at this point we want to find a fish pose. So we're just going to prop up onto our forearms, elbows under your shoulders or slightly forwards. Lift your chin, your chest, and then bring the back of the head back. Inhaling, exhale, chin towards your collarbone, slowly lower back down onto your back. Finding any last movements you need before you find rest. Feeling your heart rate slow, feeling, again, it's a gentle awakening, a gentle reawakening with the world. And just as the summer doesn't suddenly burst through the cold winter's day, it's a transition. And so too is your energy, a transition. And so today, maybe we're just starting to notice those initial signs of spring, those initial seeds getting planted, the ideas, the creativity beginning to spark. And just so too as the dormant energy in the roots deep in the earth of the trees begins to rise up once again, so too do the roots of our energy rise up. From the root chakra, we start to feel this energy undulating through the body from the sleepy winter months into the spring. And as you stay resting here for a few more moments, perhaps you take the time to just consider those seeds of intention you want to plant at this time of year, or maybe repeat to yourself the affirmation, I gently reawaken with the world. I gently reawaken with the world. Please feel free to finish your practice with a nice meditation or some journaling. As always, wishing you a wonderful transition through Imbolc, and have a lovely rest of your day. Namaste.